We've Youth and Community Services works with around 7,000 people a year and about 1,600 of them intensively. We're really concerned about the cuts to the community services sector, and we know that we can only support about 3/4 of the referrals that we get. We have a great deal of difficulty supporting young people into housing. There just isn't any housing available. And probably only 1 in 10 of those young people will get the housing they need. The housing situation in the inner city is at crisis point, and we've got young people sleeping on the street with nowhere to go, and we're out there at night picking them up and trying to find them somewhere to stay without much success sometimes. We recently had our Links to Learning funding, which is state funding, cut in this area. The funding supported young people at school who were struggling to stay at school, and we'd run the program for 25 years, and all of the inner city and eastern suburbs lost all of their funding for that program. And there are lots of examples of community organisations in the same situation. We don't want to have to spend our time looking for money. We think that the government should be supporting programs that can help people into accommodation with drug and alcohol counselling, with counselling for trauma and the difficulties that often young women face in this area. But we spend a lot of our time just trying to survive, and we don't want to continue to have to do that. We know, for example, that the amount of food aid that we have to provide has increased by 30% in the last 5 years. That's a big indication that people don't have enough money. These are people who are living in housing, in public housing, but just can't afford food. I don't know what's happened to the housing agenda. I don't know what's happened to public housing, but every day I get up and think to myself, when is the government going to start to build public housing again? It's a very sad situation, and I'd love to hear what the Prime Minister's got to say about that. We will struggle through. We're certainly hopeful that the government won't make cuts. We've got about 70% of the people we work with are Aboriginal, and we're deeply concerned about the federal cuts that might happen to Aboriginal funding. We've been told that we have to now wait till March to find out about those programs. There were originally 150 funded programs. They're now down to 5 funded programs, and the whole of Australia will have major cuts in Aboriginal services. We know that when you cut services, it costs money. It costs $230,000 a year to put a young person in custody, and to run a whole program for 50 young people, you can do that with the same amount of money. So the savings are clear, and to not think about that group is a big problem.